Hey there, welcome back to our channel. For those of you who are visitors to our channel, welcome. I am Mandy, one of the co-founders of Ubushabami Futhi Milo. We are a MPO that deals with creating educational entertainment content specifically for sexual and reproductive health. And what we're trying to achieve is to educate both the teens and the parents on how to navigate the conversation around sexual and reproductive health matters. And hopefully we make a difference and an impact in our country. So let's get started. So this segment is called Tell Me a Young Story. So for those of you who don't know, I am professionally a medical doctor. So I'm going to tell you some young story or my observation and a bit of current affairs. And maybe let's just have a chat about what we think is actually happening in our own country. So this month's theme is freedoms and boundaries. Right. So did you know South African law says it is illegal to sell or to buy or to even have possession of alcohol if you are below the ages of 18. How many of us actually had access to alcohol below the ages of 18? I know a lot of friends who were already getting alcohol and we were not 18 yet. And my point is that that's what the law says, but in practicality, that's not what's happening. So there's talk around maybe potentially even increasing the age from 18 to 21 in terms of buying and selling of alcohol. How will this solve the problem of the alcohol being sold to a younger population? It might not even make a difference. But some people do believe that it might make an impact because then we are stricter and maybe we'll have better monitoring systems. But why am I bringing this all up? So the reason why I'm even just talking about it, and I just started off with, let's talk about alcohol. When we look at freedoms and boundaries, and remember, Ubushabami, we deal with sexual and reproductive health matters. So when we're looking at freedoms and boundaries, I think the one thing I wanted to talk about that I've observed in practice is a lot of the issues that we have that are related to violence and even sometimes sexual violence start with alcohol. And alcohol ties in very well with some of the freedoms that we have in our country. And that's that you have the liberty to literally roam around and go wherever you please. Of course, not going to people's houses when they didn't invite you. But you have the freedoms to go socialize where you want to. However, we then misuse some of these freedoms and don't carry those responsibilities that come with them. For example, we drink and we drive, which is illegal. Point, and coming back to the matter. Alcohol tends to be one of the primary causes or one of the leading factors that is associated with sexual violence, even domestic violence or gender-based violence. And that's because we are abusing the freedoms that we are given. And especially as young people, those boundaries, those limits, just go out of the way when it comes to us using alcohol. So what I've seen is almost every single Friday when it's end of the month. And maybe let me tell you a quick story that I had recently. I had this guy who came in and he was in a motor vehicle accident. So his scooter fell into a pothole. Not fell, he drove into the pothole. So he says it was raining, yada, 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 and he just didn't see the pothole. So whoops, he goes. So he comes in and I call up his name. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give just a random name. So I'm like, Sizwe, and I'm in casualty. So now Sizwe comes. And Sizwe is like, he's just like limping, but he's coming very fast. And I'm like, this guy's not hurt, eh? And I get there, and then I'm like, so what's the situation? What happened? He's like, ish, as though ish, as I lose a that party, eh? I ain't fooling the third party. For those of you who don't know, the third party conversation is just, getting payment from ref if you've had a motor vehicle accident. So his story is that he's had previous accidents, but he's never really anything serious that he would need a third party. So that's besides the point. People's, money-making schemes are very hilarious. But anyways, so then he tells me, I say to him, okay, he's got a bit of a scab and an abrasion. So that pretty much just means like his skin over his knee has been scraped off. So it's not bleeding or anything, but the skin is just a bit off. But nothing else. He's able to walk. The bones don't look like they're fractured. So I say to him, listen, let's just maybe go do an x-ray just to make sure that you don't even have like a tiny bit of a crack on the bone, just so that we know what we're dealing with. He says to me, man, isn't this gonna take long? And I'm like, why are you in a rush? You just had an accident. Don't you just want to relax? Take your time. He's like, let me, I have plans. Yeah, when it's end of the month and I'm gonna phone something's going down tonight. So me, I don't want to be here longer than I need to. So I burst out laughing and I'm like, okay, my guys, clearly you have plans. What shocked me and what was very hilarious is just the basic fact that, we will prioritize our fun time over even serious matters like injuries or ruling out other potential further damaging injuries. So he was in a rush to get that. Luckily for him, he really didn't have any fractures. He was otherwise stable and fine. So we just sent him home on some pain medication and he was happy to go. My point is, even with your freedoms, even with your boundaries, even with all the joys that you have, everything has a responsibility. And from an individual point of view, I think it's very important for you to decide for yourself where you draw the line. What I mean by this is that even with alcohol intake, even with places that you engage in or places that you go for fun time, that you must have already in your head set the goals of, why am I going there? What do I want to achieve? And is it safe for me? I know this sounds like a very tedious activity to do, but especially as young people, when we put ourselves in situations or go to places and we haven't decided what we want to do and we are YOLOing certain things, there's a lot of room for a lot of trouble to happen for us. And this can lead to you making irrational decisions when you didn't anticipate to even make big life-changing decisions. And this is very important, especially when we look at sexual and reproductive health choices. You can't be making your sexual and reproductive choices on the spot. These two need to be choices and decisions that have been thought about beforehand. You cannot, at the bedroom hour, decide if you want to use a condom or not, and if you even have access to a condom or not. So teaching ourselves that yes, we do have the freedoms to do certain things, and yes, we do have the freedoms to explore, to learn, to observe, etc., is not good enough. We need to learn to set healthy boundaries, and that means really thinking about matters before you are in a situation. And I know it's not a habit that we all carry, and it's not something that we want to do actively, because who wants to plan their fun time? And that's not what I'm saying. Fun time is fun time. However, it is always good to know that weigh out the risks. Think about potential dangers. Don't be paranoid about it, but be honest and realistic. If someone calls you and says, let's go to a party, what does a party usually have? They have drinks, they have people there, you need transportation to get there, you need money to get there. So what are the things that you should think about? Do I have the money to go there? How long do I plan to stay there? Who am I going to be with? Is it going to be in a safe environment? Am I comfortable with the people I'm going with? Am I going to be ingesting any alcohol at that time? If it's a yes or a no, it is best to decide prior. Then you just have the fun that you need to have. So I'm not going to drag this on for too long. I hope my story was concise and to the point. I really hope we do take it to heart. When we are given the freedom, let's remember that all freedoms and all choices have consequences, and it is best for us to learn to set healthy boundaries. So please place your comment there. Let me know, what are some of the healthy boundaries you've placed for a good time? What are the healthy boundaries you've placed for your sexual and reproductive health choices? We would love to know. I hope this was useful, and until next time, bye.